Welcome to the Dirty Mind Podcast. My name is Dirt the Gamer, and I am a pig who's talking to you currently. What are we talking about today? Fantastic question. I'm so glad you asked that because it is so relevant. Today we're going to be talking about how one would go about planning a city in a video game. It could be a video game like No Man's Sky. Maybe that's a relevant comment. Who knows? Or it could be another game where you can build stuff. 7 Days to Die, Minecraft. There's probably some other ones, but it doesn't really matter. All we're just going to be talking about are the high-level questions surrounding building a city and what the purpose of that city might be and what it could bring to us on an emotional and spiritual level. But before we get into all that malarkey, it's time for everybody's favorite segment, Old News.
I got nothing new for you.
Today's old news is, get this, there's a brand new game coming out that's going to be competing with SimCity 2000, and it's called Cities Skylines. It's going to be coming in 2015. I know, that's right around the corner, 2015. Just you wait. All you need to do is sneeze, and that will be here before you know it. That year is just, it's going to be filled with so many good things. I bet you there's going to be some more Avengers movies eventually. And I assume it's just going to be up and up and up, and it's just, they're only going to get better. But yeah, Cities Skylines, this is a game that's not from the same creators as SimCity. Believe it or not, more than one company is capable of making a game where you build a city. Isn't that nuts? Isn't that just like, wow, how do they do that? How do they get the rights to that? How come their CEO hasn't received a strongly worded letter from the CEO of the other company? And that's how I assume that it would always go. They get their pigeon mailing service, and they send each other letters all the time, and that's how you do business. That's how mergers and acquisitions happen every single time. But yeah, no, it's a completely different company, and they're making a game where you build a city, and it's called Cities Skylines. I think it's going to be pretty good. I might get it. I might try it out and play 42.5 hours on Steam. Who knows? It's just a random number. But that's something to look out for if you like building cities. And I don't know why I consider that to be a relevant topic. It's probably not. But hey, maybe one day, 10 years in the future, it will be. All right, see you around. You look great today. Good choice of shorts. Welcome back. So, planning a city in a video game, where do you even start? All right? Well, here's a potential option. If you're looking vertically, then obviously the way you would want to start is from the sky. You start from the sky and then you work your way down. And that's particularly easy in a game like Minecraft, where you can just go up, and then you're 200 blocks high, and then you build out the top of the lighthouse or whatever you're going to create, and then you work your way down slowly. Maybe you've got some water, and then you've got some buckets of lava, and then before you know it, you got an entire tower, and everyone below you is dead or currently on fire, but that's neither here nor there. But for some other games, it's not so easy to start up, down, so sometimes you need to go down, up. And if you are starting down, up, might as well start close to the dirt. And what would that include? Well, it would include roads. We have finally gotten to the big word, roads. RODESHRHOODEASZ. Roads. And what you can do with roads is so magical. Let's go back to Minecraft again. in Minecraft, it's so simple to make beautiful roads or just pathways just by you grab your garden hoe and you take down a layer of grass and then you get to see all of that luscious, delectable dirt and it just looks so nice and inviting. And that could be it. That could be it. And you could have something like in 7 Days to Die, where you get rid of the grass or whatnot, and you choose your own type of dirt, and then boom, a pathway. And that's all you might need. Or you can go with the traditional route with the pavement or concrete. There's a lot of different options. Carpet, you can do outdoor carpet. The technology is moving so fast these days. You can do outdoor carpets now, and they won't even get stanky because of the mold. They don't mold at all. Or at least none that I've noticed, and oh boy, I've tried a few different rugs/carpets in the outdoors, and some of them were not specifically designated to be able to be put outdoors. But I'm thinking most of history has been outdoors, and like you'll go into a cave and you do your little drawings, but eventually you got to come back out unless you're just locked into your diet plan that involves hibernating 24/7, 365. I don't think every year has 365 days, right? It can't. No, because of leap years. So how many days are in the leap year? There can't be 365 in the leap years. I bet you in the leap year, would it be more? Because I know that there's some humans and probably some other animals as well, while we're on the subject, that would have a birthday like on February 29th, right? And then most of the years, February 28th is the end. And they keep saying like, oh, I'm only 4 years old when they're 20 or something. It's like, that's hilarious. I've never heard that joke before. It's so innovative. But that makes you wonder if there's going to be more of numbers in the year, more of numbers just on the isolated 1 out of 4, then that would mean that year would have more numbers. So it wouldn't be 365 days, it'd be 366 or 367. It would only be the one day. February's never had 30 days, had it? That would be insane. Why would they do that? Why would they do that to February? Why did they do that to February at all? Why not just not have the calendar stop? What does a year change? How does that happen? How does that happen where the year ends up not? Why did they change the cutoff? Where would it start? And that, where would it end? While we're on the subject, why would they do that? Where you would have a system where you would need to add an entire day to even it out. And it's not like we're getting extra time. It's not like the pleasant folk in the government just granted us this extra day and said, hey, we found a surplus in the budget. It's 24 hours of existence every 4 years. Here you go. This is on us. Like, honestly, don't even worry. You don't need to give us a tip. You don't need to try and pay us back. This is completely complimentary. Love you. Mwah. That's not how it would happen. Impossible. That means that it's just every single year we're gaining more and more extra time that we have to put somewhere, or we're losing time. Is that the way to think about it? I don't know how to think about it because no one's told me how to think about it. That's the problem with this world, is not enough peoples are telling me how to think. I need to be told how to think, and if I can't be told how to think, I'm not gonna think. Or the problem might be that I'm gonna think too much, but it's gonna be going in the wrong direction, and I'm not gonna be able to funnel all of this energy that is created by consuming so many cheese pizzas with hot honey slathered all over it, and I don't know what to do with all that energy. Direct me. Tell me where to put my thought particles, okay? So roads, if you think about roads like they are sort of the foundation of the city, because you're not going to be spending a whole lot of time on creating roads just for the visual, just to make it look interesting, because most folk, if they're going to be visiting your city, they're not going to be staring at the ground the whole time. Ideally, they're going to be looking at least eye level, if not up. But you still want to invest in the roads because that could very well be the first impression. So I would say when it comes to building roads, you want to get something that sets the tone, but it doesn't distract. Okay. And that could also connect to things like plumbing and central air. But you don't want that to take away from the interest of everything else, like the skyline itself. That's a big one. I would say the uniqueness of the skyline, the silhouette, that's what you should put a lot of your effort into. And this is, I probably should have specified this earlier, but this podcast is specifically for anyone hoping to build a city at some point in the future in a video game. I should have clarified, but here we are. Anywho's, when you think about the silhouette of a city, you want it to have some type of unique element that points you in the right direction of thinking about what's different about this place. Why would I go here and not Seattle? Why would I go here and not St. Louis? Why would I go here and not San Diego? And maybe there's some other cities that don't begin with the letter S, but there's got to be a reason that's drawing you in. And so in a Chicago, for instance, you've got the Sears Tower. Yes, it's called the Sears Tower, and it's never been called anything other than that. When you look up at it, obviously it's got the height, but that's really kind of it. It looks like a Lego structure that was built by someone who's 7 years old max. Okay, just the maximum numbers gotta be 7, because it's not doing anything that complicated. It's just blocks going up and then back in and then up, and then it just shrinks as it goes up into the clouds. And guess what? That's okay. That's okay. It represents Chicago in so many different ways, because Chicago, so much of it is built in a grid. It's just boxes. And that's okay. Rectangles and 90-degree angles, that's Chicago for you, baby. And that's all right. And then you look at another city with a completely different, like you look at Tokyo, or you look at Shanghai, or you look at Sydney, Australia. I would say Sydney is really great. Obviously, you got the Opera House, and it's got what looks like a very organic shape. And I would say that's a lot of Australia. It's just, man, it's just open nature. Just anything goes. No rules, no mercy. And that's emulated in the Opera House, because it looks like waves. It looks like jellyfish, tentacles. Anything like someone just like put their laundry and it's just flowing in the breeze. It's just like, hey, whatever, maybe I'll work from home. Maybe I'll just go surf some waves and just I'll do the conference call from the surfboard. That's what it's all about. And it fills you with that particular vibe. So if you're thinking about the skyline of your city and you're in something like 7 Days to Die, you can go really high with that. And there's so many opportunities to build some weird things, because you're not limited by just blocks. Obviously, a lot of the construction is blocks, but it doesn't have to be. If you want to go for more of a rugged look, more of a Mad Max vibe, then what you can do is you can leave holes. You can build things up so it's almost like a skeleton that has draped, ripped cloths covering it up. And then it gives you that feeling of being in the zombie apocalypse, where things are being ripped away and there's little see-through sheer veneer. Veneer, those are teeth, right? what's the material where you can see through it, kind of, and like you would put it over a t-shirt? I'm not going to think of it. Why am I asking you? You never respond. Which, by the way, I have a bone to pick because I've been talking to you for quite a long time, and I don't feel like you're very quick with the responses. Like, I'll eventually, yeah, there will be some comments and there will be some replies, but it takes a long time. I have to sit and I have to wait for days at a time sometimes. My goodness, maybe speed it up. I don't want to feel like I'm complaining, but I got to get that off my chest because it's been weighing on me. Oof, I'm going to take a breather, and in the meantime, let's listen to today's sponsor. Have you ever been eating a sandwich and thought to yourself, wow, this is really boring? Well, introducing electronic googly eyes for sandwiches. These are smart googly eyes that you can apply to almost any sandwich. And when I say any sandwich, I mean any type of sandwich almost. It can have bread on it. It can have upwards of 3 slices of bread on it. It can have lettuce. It can have mayonnaise. A lot of different sandwiches are very compatible. Whole grain, you bet. Multi-grain, you bet. White bread, we're working on it. But these electronic googly eyes, they're more than just a bunch of pupils swirling around, okay? They have the smart features that will make you just drop your jaw for 2 reasons. Because the googly eyes are so incredibly awesome to look at, but also because you got to eat the sandwich and it helps to have your mouth agape. So we have 3 primary features of these googly eyes, 3 different settings. The first is your standard googly, and this is mostly driven by gravity, moving it around, but it has a sort of delayed effect that gives it this extra life. Setting number 2 is pure chaos. The googly eyes, they will go in any direction. You will never be able to guess what direction they're going in next. They could go in circles for 7 minutes at a time, or they could just pop into one area, one corner of the eye, and then go somewhere completely different. You never know what they're going to do. And the third setting is my personal favorite, the tracker. This tracks where you are, no matter where you are. Sorry, I had a whole lot of cheese pizza with hot honey. And it doesn't matter if you're on the other side of a wall, it will keep looking at you. And it will know you, it will recognize you, it won't look at anybody else. That's my favorite part. It really gets under your skin, and it knows. It knows you. It knows you personally. It will never, as soon as it starts looking at you, it will never look at anyone again. A caveat to the third option is you cannot turn it off. As soon as you get to the third setting, that's it. It's sort of, set in stone. That will be the setting that it's on forever. So if you want to be able to have another sandwich with a different setting for the googly eyes, you're going to have to buy a different pair. But that's why they come in a pack of 9. So get your smart electronic googly eyes for sandwiches today and never experience a dull moment in your lunch ever again. Another aspect to building your city that you want to consider is the environment. You got to look at your setting. What's the backdrop all about? Now, for me, if I'm starting a new world in Minecraft, and I'm sure there are many others out there that follow this same template for a new save or a new game, where you just want to find a spot where you can look in 360 degrees and not get tired of the view, or at least hope that you won't get tired of it. So what you want to do if you're building a city in a cool spot is you want to use that background to its advantage. If you have a super awesome cherry blossom wonderland behind you, you don't want to cover it up, right? You want to allow that to flourish, and you don't want to block the view. You just don't want to do that. That's going to be a really great way to get several angry letters from villagers sent over to you post haste. So, what I would suggest is if you have a really neat view, one way to be able to build freely without feeling like you're doing yourself a disservice to the environment is create things that have the ability to illuminate or just allow the background to pass right through. So you can build with a lot of straight lines is pretty fun. You can have areas that have gaps in there. You can build with glass. But it's not just about allowing certain areas to be exposed. You can also block other areas. So let's say you're on the border of one spot and maybe you're on a cliff and the other area is just a disgusting, boring ocean and beach where the sunset always is. Yuck. You don't want that. You do not want to highlight that. You do not want that to be the focal point. Sorry. I just had a whole lot of cheese pizza with hot honey. So what you can do as a response is you can block it with your constructions. So that's when you can be really bold and broad and you can build out, build sideways. Basically the building equivalent of accumulating mass. And what that can do is it can distract from that disgusting background, like a long stretch of beach and sand and water and ripples and waves and the sunset and the clouds. All those sort of ugly views you can block out of view so they're no longer in view. That way you don't view it. And that could be really productive for everyone. Something else that I think we have to cover briefly is parking. The parking situation, that can be a real strain. And if you don't think about that early enough, it can be a strain on your visitors and on the residents that spend the majority of their lives in that area. So I would consider parking not like from the perspective of, hey, you want one parking lot that is a central hub that everyone can go to. I would say you want to think about what's the vibe. Are you going for more of a communal vibe where you want small parking lots maybe scattered about all over the place? Or do you want everybody to come to a central spot and say, all right, start here, and then you can just go in a circle around? Or have the parking lots on the outside and say, you got to walk from here, but that's part of the fun, right? That's part of the enjoyment, is saying, hey, let's all gather together without our spaceships, without our hoverboards, without our Heelys. We're just going to walk or crawl or walk on our hooves, our front hooves, front hands if you have those. Hey, it's up to you. You're the city planner. You're the city designer. You want to be able to set the tone. Another thing that's pretty important for any type of building is using the strengths of your materials. So if you're using something like coarse dirt, guess what? You can use that for anything, really. And you don't have to think to yourself, gosh, it stinks that I only have coarse dirt and I can't make this giant guillotine. Like, no, you can do that. You can definitely do that. I'm next to the sea and I want to create this gigantic barrier that competes with the Great Wall of China, but I only have coarse dirt. Guess what? You can still absolutely do that. I would recommend using coarse dirt over anything else. I can't really recommend using any other material, but if you got deep slate, that's fine, but coarse dirt is the way to go. So I guess the point I was trying to make when I was going to originally talk about using the strengths of your materials is that coarse dirt should be used. Even if you're in a game that doesn't have that, I would try to utilize it. I would definitely go for the coarse dirt over anything else. And that's not just an opinion. I think that is also based in fact. So I would think about that before you think about something else, because if you spend a lot of time thinking about something else, you're probably going to waste a lot of your time that could have been spent thinking about that one thing. Another thing to think about is, what's the point? And this is probably the last point that I'll make on the city building frontier. What is the point of the city? That will help you determine what type of constructions are needed and what type of constructions you can completely omit. You just don't even have to think about it. Maybe the whole point is that it's a complete getaway. It's a Zen garden of a city. And in that case, maybe forget about the watchtower or the clock tower. No, you don't need that. Forget about tall buildings in general. You want to have it really low so nothing blocks the view of the sun. Maybe something like that. Or if you want to say, well, we want this to be very communal and social, and we want everybody to feel connected to everybody. Well, in that case, you can have a lot of verticality, but a lot of bridges connecting to each other. Maybe you have a central tower and it juts off, and there's a ton of maybe covered bridges with glass, and it just connects from building to building to building. And it doesn't matter where you are, you can always get to that next building, that next house. You can get to Grandmama's cabin very easily. You just go through a couple tunnels and there you are. So you want to think about what the point is, what the vibe is going to be when people show up unannounced and they didn't even bring chips and or salsa. And it's just like, why show up? Why show up? Why even show your face if you're not going to bring chips and or salsa? I would understand it if you had some queso, some jalapeno poppers perhaps, or a shrimp cocktail, something like that. That'd be grand. It wouldn't be not grand. But the fact that you're showing up to my party and you didn't have anything in your paws. And I would have accepted just a fun size races. That would have been fine. That would have been fine as long as you were sharing at least 80% of it with just me and nobody else. Maybe 100% of it. It's not a requirement, but to come in here and say, "Hey, let's play Mario Party, Super Mario Party Jamboree time," but you don't have anything. Really? You don't have a ginger ale? You don't have a blue raspberry Jolly Rancher? Come on. Why? We've talked about this. We've talked about this time and time again. We need to have something reciprocated. I need to see that you are in it for the long term. And it's not just about the thing. It's not just about having something in your paws when you walk up to the door. It's about the fact that I can tell that you listened to me and that you retained the information that I sent your way. That's what it's really about. That's what it's always been about, is that I need to know that you are hearing me and you're taking it to heart. It's one thing to listen. It's another thing to truly hear. Or is it hear but listen? Which one is more passive? Listen or hear? Oh, I hear you. Did I hear what you said? Oh, I heard what you talked. I said what you heard, and I yelled what I heard. I don't know which one is more aggressive or assertive and which one's more passive. Let's see. Let's break it down again. Hear. I can hear. When I hear the word hear, I think it's more of the sense, like the sense of hearing. And then listen is more of active listening. Yeah, I think I was the opposite, and now I've sort of flipped to the other side. So I'll say, I don't want you to just hear me. I want you to listen. Nah, now that I say it like that, I feel like I had it right the first time. I don't want you to just listen to me. I want you to really hear what I'm saying. Now that I say it that way, though, I don't think there's any right answer. I don't think there's any right answer. I think those two words are too interchangeable. They're too synonymous. They're basically the same thing, saying the same thing. It's like, I don't want you to speak, I want you to talk. Well, what? How is that helpful? You know, that's what everyone else is feeling while they're listening to me. While they're listening to me. Not while they're hearing me, while they're listening to me. I feel like listening is more of a verb connecting to just the act of consuming sound, whereas hearing is it's sort of like just like when you touch something like foam, you touch the foam like on the inside of. I'm in a closet here that has soundproof or sound absorbing panels. If you touch that, you can feel it, but you're not really elaborate. You're not really analyzing it. I would say the touch is one thing, but the feel. It's the same thing again. The touch and the feel and the hear and the listen and the talk and the speak. What does smell have? Does smell have a synonym? I smelled, but I also nasally inhaled. Nope, I don't think there's another word. I'm gonna have to look that up. If there's another synonym for smelled, I nosed it. Nope, I don't think that works. Ah, hold on. I don't want you just to smell that. I want you to nostril it. No, I don't think so. I think they figured out smell and they were like, "No, yeah, that works. That works. No, I don't think we need to come up with another one as a backup. No, let's just go with that. It is what it sounds like, which is referring to something that's not using sound, it's using sense." What's interesting about sense is that it's not a palindrome. It's what is it? When you got two words and they sound the same. Hold on. Don't no. Don't tell me. Don't tell me. I'm gonna figure this one out. I'm gonna figure this one out. Homophone. So you've got those two words that sound the same, but they're spelled different and they have different meanings. So sense, S-C-E-N-T-S, versus S-E-N-S-E. Those are two completely different words, but they have that connection where the sense of smell involves smelling scents. Isn't that unique? Isn't that so curious? Doesn't that make you just go, wow, the English language is phenomenal. So many inspiratory phrases and words and connections. My goodness, I just need to express myself somehow, some way, and I need the words. And guess what? English has the words. They have all of them. One could argue they have too many. Too many. There's too many words. I'm never going to be able to remember them all. Certainly not going to remember what they all mean. And then I turn around and someone's like, "Are you learning a new language?" And it's like, well, I would if I could even wrap my mind around the current language that I supposedly know. How am I expected to learn French if I don't even know a third of the words in my own language? It's nuts, and they keep coming up with more. Have you seen that? They were updating stuff. They added meme to the Oxford Dictionary or the Merriam-Webster. I don't know which one. I wonder if they have like competitions with each other or like they have a rivalry with the other dictionary. And it's like, hey, you guys got stupid words. We only got the gooder words. And then the other ones is like, oh yeah, well you're too exclusive. We let everybody in because we like to we welcome people's in with open arms. I think they would sound a little bit better than that, and they would talk more smoothlier since they are dictionaries. But Maybe not. Maybe it's just super ironic because they need the time to be able to acquire all that knowledge and filter it and they wouldn't actually be able to talk that well in the moment. They're more like ghost writers versus public speakers. And I can see that being the reality of the situation, and it might make for an interesting sitcom to have those two rival dictionaries go head to head, like they're forced to be roommates. Anywho, I think it's time for today's lucky color. Ooh, today's lucky color. You're in luck. It's Celeste. Yeah, Celeste, like the video game and a human probably. The hex code is B2FFFF. That's right. That's B2FFFF. And that is a lovely light turquoise. Celeste. Such an interesting name for such a nice, gentle color. I was hoping to get another turquoise type color into the running, and this is going to be a good one. You want to keep your eye out for this one. Maybe if you're in a beach town, you'll probably see a good amount of this. In southern United States, Arizona maybe, you'll probably see a good amount of this. If you're up north, maybe northwest, I don't know if you're going to see a whole lot of turquoise. Midwest, if you're far away from the Great Lakes, probably not a lot of turquoise. If you're in the Spain region, maybe near Marrakesh, I don't know, you could. You definitely could. Other than that, I don't know what other places exist. So, Moscow, there's a couple buildings. You might see some turquoise. Other than that, yeah, don't get your hopes up. Anywho, thanks for listening, and I hope this helped everyone plan their own personal cities. And just remember, the sky is not real. It's only an illusion. I wish I was joking, but at the same time, I don't wish I was joking because joking is silly. Why would you do that? Let's just stick to the facts, okay? We only got so much time here on this earth. Let's stick to the facts. Let's be punctual. Let's be pragmatic. And let's just get through the day, all right? Ooh, oh, that's good. Ooh, oh, that's funny. Oh, wow. Wow, that really, that found its way into the humorous bone, I would say so. Ooh. All right, bye.